What is good, guys? It's Ronald, also known as Youcapper from sportsmemo.com. Welcome to another episode of Let's Cap. We got a familiar face here with Skee Profit from Wagertalk with us today and making his Let's Cap debut. He caps multiple sports. You've probably seen him on Pub Sports Radio and Who Bangin' Sports Talk. WAM is with us today. Man, I really appreciate you guys coming on today. I actually love this combination right here because we're going to be talking about the NBA Finals. And I want to see some battles here. I want to see some takes from both sides. It's definitely going to be fun. Like I said, we're going to talk about the NBA Finals here, and we're going to try and touch on some MLB here, and maybe Skee is good for maybe a game of WNBA or two as well. We'll see if we got time for that. Not too sure how busy you guys' schedule is, but yeah, let's get into it, guys. How are you guys doing today? I know. Okay. One thing that I've seen on Twitter lately between the three of us is we haven't been running hot. All right, we haven't been running hot. Real quick before we get into this NBA, how do we bounce back? What do you make? Like, at what point are you like, we need to make some adjustments here, or do you trust your process enough to just keep going and and we know it's just gonna turn around?
Both. For me personally, my slump started. I feel like I think it started with a little less focus, just
I
because
know where
of
you're coming from with that.
Memorial Day weekend, but it kind of carried over. Like it just haven't been able to see the board clear ever since. So, do I trust my
Yeah.
process? Absolutely. Do I think I need to make some adjustments to what I'm doing? Absolutely, because what I've been doing for the past week or so is not working. So, yesterday I didn't make any plays at all. Just kind of looking over how I've been, looking at the games and just trying to fix it and get back on track.
Yeah. What about you, Wham? What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
I agree. I agree completely. Having that even kill mentality, it's gonna be peaks and valleys, bro. It always that law of averages always tend to level out, bro. So I kind of try to not be too high, not to be low. Especially if you're on a
Hmm.
10 game winning streak, it goes the same way. Like don't try to overdo it. Don't over shoot your shot. Don't increase your bankroll because you're on a nice hot streak. Just keep everything kind of consistent. That way things could pan out, even out, like like we were saying there. So I think it's easy to get out of one of those if you keep that mentality. It's hard if you keep thinking about what just happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you do have to make some type of adjustments. Like, if I was to find myself finding just double doubles, I was just betting double doubles in the middle of the season. For
Yeah.
example, find myself like, look, let me get out of the double doubles because basically I'm looking for this because it's a nice situation. So sometimes you got to make adjustments. Sometimes you got to keep riding it. So in this case, I think we got to keep riding it because right now it's the last two games, and don't overshoot your shot. That's what my main thing is. Just don't overdo it. Keep it even.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think another thing to look at too, when you kind of know you're about to bounce back, is when you're like, all right, like the WNBA, for instance, right? I went 2-2 the other day.
Mhm.
All four were first half plays. Two of the losses were by 1 point each, which is crazy. So you just know that you're in a position to bounce back pretty soon here. So I mean, just continuing your process and really the whole mental aspect of betting is such an important role here. Like you were
Right.
saying, you don't want to change too much just because you're on a little streak. Because long term, your last 500, like what Skee says, your last 563,000 bets or whatever it is, you're
Yeah.
56%. You don't want to change that shit
Right.
because that's profit. That's profitable money right there. But yeah, Skee went to go open the window. I think he's still heated from
Hey, went to go
his
open the
show that
window.
he just came off of. But yeah, and he's ready to rock too with what we're about to talk about. We're gonna talk about Game 2 recap real quick. I know he wants to talk about how the Warriors adjusted. Man, that was a big game there. I think going from Game 1 to Game 2, you kind of see polar opposites of the outcome, right? Uh, what do you think, Ski? I'm gonna come to you first with the adjustments made from Game 1 to Game 2. What did the Golden State Warriors do differently to get them that big W?
Honestly, they didn't do very much different. The number one thing was just bring intensity. Like they were kind of like half-assing it, for lack of a better term, in that first game. And you saw right from the tip, they brought that defensive intensity. Draymond, with the jump ball, with the steal or something like that. So you saw a different effort level from the Golden State
Mhm.
Warriors. And then other than that, I would say that in the first game, they played a lot of man and they were fine. They were doing just fine. But they also played some zone. And when they were playing that zone, I feel like Tatum was able to get like in the middle, kick it out to shooters. And that's why you're getting all these open threes from Horford, White, etc. In the second game, I feel like Golden State is like, you know what? We're fine. We don't need to play that zone. We're just going to man up. Because I saw them play zone for a little bit, maybe in the first quarter. But the rest of that game, I didn't see it anymore. So I feel like the adjustment was we know we can play man-to-man defense and just stop giving them those open shots. Everybody's rotating, and you saw that 30-point blowout.
I think with the zone that you're talking about, Skee, I think that came after Brown got out because he got into foul trouble early. And then they were able to kind of, so in game one, you seen Tatum struggle offensively and then have 13 assists. They ended up winning. I mean, and then in game two, he doesn't have that ability to pass out anymore when they did the zone, when it was just him having the ball in his hands. They made Tatum be the only guy trying to win this game at this point, and that kind of got them to suffer offensively. Trout, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I agree, bro. I think it was a lot physical, similar to what game one was for the Bucks series. They kind of got to match that intensity coming into this next game. But the last game, I mean, I feel like, both of those first two games, teams shot under, I believe 16 points in the fourth quarter for the 16 points for the Golden State Warriors in the fourth quarter that won the damn game in game one. And it was similar, 14 points in the third quarter for Boston in that second game. It seems like the defense is what really matters in this series. Who's going to be able to stop the next guy? I really think that it was a lot of, chipping it, a lot of, complaining, not necessarily really outspoken complaining with the rest, but just being poutful, all that stuff you see Jason Tatum doing in the first quarter, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, you got to have a little different mindset coming into this next game, as far as like if calls are not going to come or if they are going to come or anticipating calls, just, things like that have to stop. So I agree with Skee. That zone was definitely not working for Golden State. So they figured that out. I think the defense is going to be there, but it really takes a toll on you when you don't have that ball handler on the Boston side. They don't really have that strong ball handler that could, penetrate the defense without that. Udoka saying they over penetrating in that last game. So I think, maybe they cuts that out there in the next game. But my take in the last game, I think it was a physical game. They let Draymond get in their head. They got to get out of that and let somebody be the enforcer in the next game, man.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I think the physicality too, it really messed with them mentally, like in a psychological aspect, right? Because they weren't getting the calls, and then Golden State was early. And when you play basketball, you guys probably know this too. When you play ball and the calls are not going your way, if you see someone on your team that is acting the way that Tatum did or Brown did, you already know mentally they're really not 100% focused, and that's going to affect your game offensively. You really got to stay just like when we're we're talking about bounce backs and stuff like that, going through a bad road. The psychological aspect of just kind of staying even keel, and you can kind of see their body language was being affected by that. With that, going into game three here, we're one thing to know is I think a lot of people expected Golden State to take both game one and game two, especially at home at the house. We don't see Golden State lose at the house. Boston stole one, right? Boston was good on the road throughout the whole playoffs. Now we're seeing the opposite here. Golden State not good on the road. Boston not that great either at home. What are you guys expecting here in Boston with both teams kind of having that different type of trend, both struggling on the in this specific situation? Wayne, let's start with you in this one.
Yes, I expect what Ime Udoka kind of mentioned just now in the media availability that they over penetrated. Try to make it a little bit more simpler, not try to do too much. Being at the rim, is okay, but when you got a guy in front of you, try to get the kick out. Keep the ball moving, keep the ball rotating. You heard Al Horford say that after the game as well, that they need to move the ball there. So I think they're going to do a little bit more of what they did in game one. They had 33 assists on 43 points. The last game they had 19 turnovers, so they weren't able to do that type of production there. So I expect it to be a little bit more of a hotter start for Boston Celtics. You've seen that the Golden State Warriors tried to react to a game one loss, which they never really do in the Steve Kerr era, having a game one loss.
Yeah.
Try to come out with some type of force in the first quarter. And it really didn't show. Third quarter Warriors is really where it's at. So I think I'm going to stay away from I'm staying away from that third quarter Warriors. I think that's something that, that can win them this series alone within 5 to 7 games, regardless, you know what I mean? Depending on how they come out and how Boston could, take there. So I'm going to take the first half. I'm going to take the first half with Boston. I just believe that they're going to continue to come out hot. And not only do they have a great after a loss record, following a loss, just that mental aspect of things, having that even kill mindset doesn't seem like it's really affected them. Kind of a lot of smiles, a lot of, a lot of even killedness. Like our guy Dutch mentioned prior shows as well, that, they already split the series. You know what I mean? Splitting the series was just good enough, having home court advantage. This is the first time it's going to be a finals in the new GD Garden. So this will be a kind of historic early on spot. I think the storm out there is not going to allow them to have any immediate, any like watch parties or anything outside. So they're going to have a rough crowd. I mean, a loud crowd inside. I think it starts off early for Boston. So I took the -1.5 at -120 for the first half for Boston. That's the official place for me. But at the same time, as far as the way the game is going to go, for full game backers, I honestly could only expect Golden State to have a great third quarter as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow win this game, being that this is the first game out there. They got to be able to bounce back. But the after a loss record shows that Boston does tend to play pretty well after a loss. But I like that first half to come out, bro.
Yeah, I agree with that take about at least for the first half year. One thing that I was looking at is how Celtics bounced back after a 15 plus turnover. They're 15-6 straight up, 11-10 against the spread. But what I want to focus on is more primarily in that first quarter, first half. They're actually plus 6 in the first half in those games, and then they kind of settle down a little bit in the second half, and they actually lose in the second half. From primarily in those spots there. Skee, what are your thoughts on this one, and how is Celtics gonna kind of get this first game at home here?
You said how the Celtics going to get the first game at home?
Yeah, if they're going to win this, if the Celtics wins this game, how are they going to be able to do that? Because to me, it's one way. We always talk about these trends, right? The Celtics not being a team that loses two straight, but in this sense, this is the finals. It's always a little bit different, right? The coaching aspect is also a little bit different. The experience side on Kerr. What can Boston do to actually win this game here at home?
I think they definitely need a healthy Robert Williams, and you gotta put pressure on some of Golden State star players. Like, I would try to hunt and attack Steph. Maybe continue attacking him, trying to get him in some foul trouble, or get some of their better players off the court would be the way I would think to go for Boston. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, from what I watched so far, it's not very many ways that I see. Very many adjustments I think Boston can make, like X's and O's. I hear what Wham's saying and what Udoka said, that they penetrated too much. But all that means to me is, they're going to be stopping, taking, mostly contested mid-range jumpers, which is what I already expect from Boston's offense. That's what Tatum and Brown want to do. I like the way I saw Draymond guarding Jaylen Brown, even though he maybe got away with it a little bit. And I think, Tatum settles for a lot of shots, bad shots. If he's not settling, if Udoka can get him, into some of his sweet spots, then maybe he'll be a little bit better. As far as, even if you start out hot, which Boston has, the last game, they went up 10, I think, in the first quarter. I want to say in the other game, they were right in it. Maybe not in the first quarter, but in the first half. We've seen Boston plenty of times trick off these leads. They almost are not in the NBA Finals because of one, if that Jimmy Butler shot goes in. So, I don't know, man. I don't think Robert Williams is healthy. Each game they keep saying, more limited minutes. He's limping around the court. And I think he's a big piece to them defensively, because he's going to help them hold down the paint. If the paint is open, Golden State's offense is too potent. Like, they still haven't even had a really good offensive game yet. I think, Boston has played to their potential offensively in that first game. Golden State still has another notch to take it. So until Boston shows me, what adjustments they're going to make, maybe Wham's going to get his boy Scotty in Game 3 or something to get some help. But
game 4,
Golden State,
yeah. That to me, I like that take too. I mean, the only reason why I stick with Boston in the first half here also is sort of that travel fatigue. I was looking in this spot here where the Warriors were the team at home in the prior game, and they go to a non-conference road game. So I'm going from west to east. They actually struggle in that situation here. 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread, and 3-0 to the under. So the under is also another look that I was looking here, obviously because of the defenses here, right? The pace of play. You can kind of see, like you said, Boston really had that. If Boston didn't have that fourth quarter in Game 1, we'd be seeing this 2-0 right now, and also both games possibly going under. In my opinion, so I think that trend kind of gives me that little boost of confidence, at least for that first half. But I'm probably going to stay away from the full game because, like what Wham was saying with the third quarter of Golden State and how they made adjustments in Game 1 and Game 2, you can't really see. I don't see what type of adjustments Boston can make either. It's really tough to call here. Did you make any bets on this one, Skee, or have you? Because I locked in that first half, and the full game under.
Are you just mean for the total?
Well, either way, the side.
Well, I have Golden State plus 145. I don't need any points. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna win the game. Is how I'm looking at it until Boston shows me otherwise. And Ralph already tweeted that stat out the past 63 NBA Finals games.
Whoever wins.
Yeah, they covered. Yeah. So who needs the plus 3 points? As far as the total, I'm kind of with you. Golden State, they had a wake-up call in that Game 1, and they came out and with a defensive effort. Like after you give up 40 points in the fourth, you're going to focus on your defense. I think that carries over to this next game because, they still got to steal a game over here. It's not like they are going over here to Boston up 2-0. They still got to bring it. And for the Boston side, that's what they hang their hat on, playing defense. So,
yeah,
I don't see them winning a shootout type of game with Golden State. I don't think they see themselves winning that game either. So, I see it more as an under type game.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Any thoughts on the total one?
Yeah, it's back and forth, right? It's first game went over and the second game went under. A lot of that had to do with what we said. 16. The onslaught of points that Boston dropped in the first fourth quarter kind of put that total over because I think the live total wasn't really that high. I think both the games has been starting off on a pretty slow pace there. I could honestly only see the under here in this game. I think it's only going to get more tighter if Boston is winning early on. I can only imagine Golden State or maybe even Steph not having a good game because he's had back-to-back good games. So just as much as those other guys, Poole and Clay, are due to explode, Curry is probably due to have a mediocre game here. So it's going to be one of those interesting things. I would agree with you though, bro. I think the under is probably the better way.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Before we head over to the MLB real quick, I want to bring up this stat here for the refs. I looked up the refs, Zach Zarba brothers and Tiven here, and
Is that the official refs for a game?
That's what I saw.
That was last game, right? Wasn't that last game?
Was that last game?
I think that was their last game.
Oh,
they normally been trying to do it. They've been trying to drop those like game day, earlier game day, and I wouldn't be surprised if we know, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.
The day of.
The day of. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. When I was
Scott Foster's there, all bets are off. No, I'm kidding.
It's gonna be trending.
You're like, that's why I'm not locking anything in yet. That makes a lot of sense now. Okay. Yeah, okay. These refs were from yesterday, from the other game. Then, and a lot of those. Just to bring it up, a lot of those refs are fade material against Celtics. So it kind of went the way that we thought it would if we were just looking at the refs.
Can I mention one more thing?
Yeah.
Everybody, like you said, is going to bet Celtics mostly because they're off a loss, right? They don't lose 2 games in a row. But just look at, they've been playing beat up teams. Wham just got done saying for 2 weeks how this team is full of undrafted players. The Milwaukee Bucks without Chris Middleton, the Nets not fully healthy. This is a healthy Golden State team. It's not the same deal. You know what I'm saying? Just keep that in mind.
Hey, I done
Okay,
put
so
too much fuel on the fire. My fault, Ronald. Go ahead, bro.
Hey, no, you brought the health thing up too. I remember you talked about Robert Williams. Robert Williams don't look healthy, and I don't think Marcus Smart is healthy either.
No.
Does Mark? He don't look healthy at all either. And if that happens here, if that continues to be a problem, and they got to stretch the rotation here, we're gonna see a lot more Pritchard. Poole about to cook Pritchard. He didn't do well in game one, and you can see in the third quarter or like the latter part of the second half how when you bring in that bench there, dude, you don't want to give Poole confidence.
He already got his confidence from the last game. I think it carried
Yeah,
over
that's
into
what I'm
this
saying.
next game.
He all he needed was that
That's a
shot,
problem.
that halftime shot. He back. You know what I'm saying? That's all.
That's a problem. That's a problem right there. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. But I did take Celtics first half, and depending on how it goes, I might look at the second half Warriors. I mean, they just been a strong second half team. I know they didn't get it done first in the first game, but I think that fourth quarter was really just a coaching mistake on the part of Kerr, leaving those guys in there for a long time there. We see some people out here. we see some guys moving over from the GR chat over here. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming in from everyone that coming from a ski show and joining us here. But yeah, on that note, we kind of talked about what we were playing for the NBA playoffs. But let's talk about some baseball here. The MLB. Me and Wham, we were just talking about the Padres and the Mets game, and also a little bit of the Dodgers. Skee, do you have anything going on in the MLB today?
I like a lot of stuff. I mean, I could just start talking, or I'll talk
Let
about one
me
game I
bring it.
like.
Hey man,
Let's go one game at one game at a time right here. What game were you talking about?
Well, the first game that comes to mind is the Giants game. Giants play the Rockies, right? You wake up, you see Marquez on the mound. You got to fade him some way, shape, or form. He's been terrible. His last 17 innings, he's given up 17 runs. And the bullpen for the Rockies is bad too. Last 2 weeks, 6.56 ERA. Looking at San Francisco, they're 10th weighted runs created plus last 2 weeks versus righties. They've gone over 4.5 runs, 6 of the last 8 games. And Colorado's allowed 5+ runs, 9 of the last 11 games. So that all adds up to Giants team total over 4.5.
That makes a lot of sense to me. You could even see right here. You would think just because he's a Colorado pitcher, all of the numbers that are inflating his ERA and all that stuff would be because of home. You look at his road splits; they're still jacked up. So that makes a lot of sense to me. When do you have any thoughts on this one?
So the way I handicap baseball, because I'm not able to follow some teams all the way, I look at fantasy projections, bro. And the fantasy projections, the third worst starting pitcher today is Marquez, bro. You know what I mean? He's definitely one of those guys. Like you said, fade him. So as he was saying that, I'm looking up the numbers. That's the type of shit I would be looking towards. And my apologies for cursing here, especially with my son.
No, it's all good.
But for the most part, that's the way I would be looking, though, bro.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good look, Skee. Thanks for bringing that one up. You can kind of see here the Giants hit well on at home against righties, and even though the Rockies hit well, average wise, they're not putting a lot of runs here on the road against lefties. I think it a lot has to do with that power. They're not hitting the home runs on the road there, and then the bullpen, like you mentioned, they're bullpen struggling here on the road splits. Giants road bullpen isn't doing that great at home either. So I really do like that overlook that you brought here.
Hey man, it's my favorite play probably for today. I didn't bet it any more than the others, or at least not yet. I kind of just started putting plays in, and I'll add a little bit more if I like them.
And that's just the team total. That's just the team total, right? Not the full game.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about the Giants bullpen. I'm just fading Marquez, fading that bullpen over there, and back in the Giants bats.
Yeah, I love that.
Makes a lot of sense. I love that. I love that look here. The other one that we were looking at was the Dodgers and White Sox. This one's an interesting line. Wham brought this to me right before the show that they're only favored by it's only minus 120 or around there. Right. And I think it really has to do with the pitching matchup here with Kopech on the White Sox side, and then you have like a young Mitch White here on the Dodgers side, and they're on the road. But you can kind of see Dodgers are not. It's not like they're bad on the road here. 18-9 straight up. And then if you look at the pitching aspect of it, Kopech at home, I just feel like there's a little bit of regression here because you can kind of see where his numbers are here, but his last three are 4.5 ERA there. And then I don't know. To me, I think there might be some regression here on Kopech. Skee, any thoughts on this game at all?
This is one of the games that out of all of them, I didn't really look into too much. But what I will say is the Dodgers, it's been a while since they've had a day off. They're undefeated, after some rest. So I just think it's a nice spot to back the Dodgers at a really low price, rested.
Exactly.
That's what I would approach it as.
Another thing here to note too is how they do after a loss in the first game of a series, 5-1 straight up. So that's another thing to bring up. Wham, I know this one was one that you were talking about right before the show. Anything to add to that? I think this, like you said, this is just a really cheap spot to back a Dodgers team.
Yeah, it really is. It's cheap, but you know what? And now that I mentioned the rankings for the pitchers today, the least pitcher is Mitch, man. It's the starting pitcher for the Dodgers. And that's got a lot to do with who he's been going up against, though, bro. Like, I believe that this White Sox team, I'm not really scared of their bats like that. So if we're going to go bat for bat, if it gets there to bat for bat, I'm going to take the Dodgers every time. I think that's the reason why they are still favored here, even though it's the worst pitcher on the mound is going for the Dodgers. Now, Koufax, he got touched up against the Toronto Raptors. I'm sorry, I'm in NBA mode. Toronto Blue Jays. He got touched up by the Toronto Blue Jays. 6 hits in 3 innings, gave up 5 runs. I think that last inning, not saying that it's going to continue here, but it's going to be tough to bounce back against a team that just came off of 31 games in 30 days, and now they had a day off here. So I can only look towards the Dodgers, bro. I think that them being on the road is cool. They're going to be on their way home shortly. This is a game that they could definitely win by margin here. I think the Dodgers money line is the way to go. I haven't locked that in yet. Got to get that disclaimer out there, but this will be something I'll tweet out. This will be something that I have to tweet out because I do strongly agree with the Dodgers, though, bro. But I'm glad I have to get that disclaimer there, Skee. I just left.
If you don't got a ticket. But here's one thing to know here. All right, so we see a Kopech here for the White Sox, averaging only about 5 innings pitched per start, right? And we come down here to the bullpen. Look at that number here from the home away splits. At home, their bullpen is struggling really bad. And then from the bats perspective, like you said, bat for bat, we're going to go Dodgers here. Dodgers against righties on the road. They're hitting at 260 versus White Sox righties at home hitting 210. So a lot of things to me line up as far as backing the Dodgers here. I know Mitch White isn't the actual pitcher that you want to back here, but like you said, bat for bat and also at the price, the Dodgers look like a good play here. We got Nucky. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, Nucky. There you go.
Lean police on patrol. Yeah, Nucky, police. We know. We gotta keep it tight around here.
Gotta keep it tight. Yeah. No shenanigans. No shenanigans.
And last one I want to touch on in the MLB here is Taijuan Walker and Darvish Yu, Padres versus the Mets here. It's really tough to fade the Mets at any point right now. Their bats are really hitting pretty well, but another way to do bet, like if you like the other way, is probably look towards the under here. In my opinion, I think me and Wham, we were talking right before this that we both kind of like the under here. I think Darvish probably like a positive regression here. And also, so we're probably going to see a little bit of regression on. That means a little regression on the bats. Wham, what are your thoughts on this one?
Now, when it comes to the Padres, I'll just let y'all know I don't like the Padres. I don't like their lineup at all. So this may be a little biased. I just got to get that out as another disclaimer. But if we're talking about Darvish against Pete Alonso, let's talk about it. He had 7 at-bats in his career. He's batting 1.43. He's doing pretty good against Pete. And Pete is the guy that's been hitting these home runs, being the force for this Mets team that's getting them in this surge. I think Darvish can slow him down early, and that's what's getting me in the direction towards the nerfy in this game. The Taijuan Walker, I think he's one of the better pitchers that really ain't getting that much love. But in this matchup, I think he can figure it out against this this Padres lineup. I don't like Manny Machado in this matchup at all. Similar to Pete Alonso, he doesn't fare too well against Taijuan Walker, batting at 14 at bats, 1.43 batting percentage there. So I think that he will have a little struggle. If that's the case, I'm going to go first half under and no runs first inning. That's something I'm betting right now after I'm finished talking. I'm looking for the number right now as I was talking because I don't want this is going to be official play for me. I'm going to take the first 5 under. Believe we're getting around 3.5, 4 there. So that's the way I'm going to be going. No runs first inning as well at -130. That did get locked in before I start talking. So I did take the no runs first inning in this game. Right now, I'm kind of in a bad spunk. I got to get that out, just like we talked about it. You're in a bad spunk. You can't be hiding from it. You know, over the last 11 plays, I've only won 4 no runs first inning, but this one, hopefully we get that to 5 out of the last 12. So that's why I'm looking, man.
Yeah, let's get it. I like that first half look on the under here. You can kind of see most of Darvish's damage has been done in night games, but if you look at how he does at home in this spot here, 1.71 ERA, almost 7 full innings here. If you focus on that first 5, you also see on Taijuan Walker's side how well he does in his starts on the road, and he goes past 5 innings. So both of those guys can get past the 5 inning mark. I can see the under happening here, and you stay away from the bullpen, a bullpen that I mean, pretty inconsistent for the most part, especially on the Padres side. So that's probably one thing that you would probably want to do here if you look towards that way. Skee, anything to add on this one?
No, you guys picked the 2 games that I just kind of threw away this morning. I can give you guys, information on other games that I'm liking, but
yeah, give us one more. Let's
talk about
one more then. Let's do one more.
All right, well, just one that's kind of automatic. You don't even really got to think about it too much. It's just you should bet it, in my opinion. Blue Jays and Royals.
Yeah, Blue Jays, yeah.
And
you got the Manoah as the starting pitcher. Man, that guy's a beast.
He is, and usually, I want to look to back him. The price is pretty hefty for this one, and so, I'm just thinking other ways you can look to bet this game. And I found a plus money one. It's going to be, I'm just looking. It's Keller, right? Yeah, Manoah versus Keller. So Keller. His last 3 starts, 17 innings pitched, 7.41 ERA. He's terrible. The Royals bullpen is terrible. Last 2 weeks, 6.35. I got to go Blue Jays. Team total over 5.5, plus 105. They've hit that number, I think, 10 of the last 12 games. And the Royals have allowed 6+ runs, 13 of their last 17 games. So fade of the starter, even though he's one of their better pitchers, he's still terrible. And the bullpen is garbage as well. So Jays bats, they've been hot. They're number 1 rated runs created plus versus righties the last 2 weeks. I like them to continue it. They had 8 yesterday versus the Royals. I think they can get 6+ again.
Makes a lot of sense to me. You can kind of see the Keller's last few starts here. Last 3, giving up 7.67 runs in those starts here. At night games, 5.29. What was the team total there for?
You can get 5.5 at plus 105.
Damn, that's pretty good. Because if you look at who he played in these games here, some of them were actually like obviously not teams that could hit just like Toronto can. So you can kind of see like if you balance that out based on who he pitched against, it would probably definitely lean towards the over there. I could see that happening. Pretty good. Yeah, I like that. It's interesting that you say that because everyone would be like, all right, let's just back Manoah here because he's the better pitcher. But if you find a different way to get it at plus money, that's the way.
Gotta jump on it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only right.
That makes a lot of sense to me. One more thing before we bounce, guys. Skee, do you have anything in the WNBA? We could talk about one game here.
I haven't made a play on it, but we can talk about it if you guys want.
Yeah, let's see what the lines here.
As long as you got the disclaimers, bro. As long as you got the disclaimers.
All right. So this is what I was. We talked about this in the chat a little bit earlier. Skee, Atlanta and Seattle. We seen so it opened at 6.5, right? Went all the way up to 8.5, and I texted you guys or I messaged you guys. I was like, "What the fuck is going on with this line here? Why is it going up to 8.5?" I didn't really understand it. now it's coming back down to where I feel like it should be going towards the dream, to the dream here. I just feel like Seattle doesn't have the depth that they've had the last few years. And to me, that's kind of like the biggest thing for me. And I don't want to. I want to stay away from the first half here. I want to go the full game with the dream. That's one thing that I probably should have took earlier, but I got too stuck questioning myself on why the line was going the other way, so I kind of missed that opportunity. Do you have a take on this one?
For me, I will say, yeah, it's just why the line is going this way, just because it has to be a Seattle spot after how they've been losing all these games and giving away the other game. It's just that it's a Seattle spot and just the name, I guess, because they barely. I mean, I think they're the worst point spread team, and for them to be expected to win by double digits is just kind of crazy. Dream have a better record. They might be the best defense so far as numbers. I know last 3 games, as far as what I look at, number 1 defensive rated team. They're number 2 defending the 3, and they're number 1 protecting the paint. So it's not going to be anything easy for Seattle. And you're giving me who I think, so far has been a better team. I love Ryan Howard. She can keep them afloat on offense. I'm with you. I was thinking, I got to play the dream here. I hate that I'm not getting, that 8.5 or 8 that was out there.
Yeah.
So it makes me want to look towards, if the Dream are going to be in this game, I don't think it's just because, both teams are lighting it up on offense. I think it's because the Dream are playing pretty solid defense so far this season. They're holding opponents to an average of 73.2 points per game. And the Storm only averaging 77.7. Their team total is 79.5. And I think it sounds like a pretty good look to go under that number.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. One thing to note as well is the way that the Dream play defensively. So we talk about Ryan Howard, about her being that offensive the offensive player that really is the main focus there. And you, even as a rookie, if Seattle stops her, right, who else can Dream really focus on as far as an offensive threat to keep up? Because Martinez brings up a good point here. It's really time for Storm to step up here. But this could be the line where Storm could win, but still not cover the spread here. So to me, it's just like one thing that I want to know is who else can we rely on other than Howard?
Erica Wheeler, she's somebody I trust to go get a bucket. That it's really those two, the people I trust the most. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's not a lot of people on this Atlanta team I trust to get a bucket.
Yeah.
But Wheeler,
I was gonna ask that too. My apologies, because I'm trying to learn from y'all, man. And I was just gonna ask. It seems like their bottom 3 effective field goal percentage as well with the Dream. If you're not confident in it, man, I think you right on point. I mean, you're talking me into the under, and I don't know too much about these guys day to day, but after looking at some of these numbers, both of them playing pretty good defense, top 3 in opposing points over the last 3 games, like you mentioned. That's where you like to look at. I'm trying to follow you, bro. I think the under makes sense, man, as far as general capping regarding.
What about even if the only thing that's holding me up with the Storm team total under is because it's a Storm spot. So what if they do come out, and they're the only side that's scoring, but they're holding Atlanta down? Yeah. The number I made for this game on the total was 151. And
that's almost spot on. Yeah.
But it opened around there. It went up to 153.5 and kind of came back down. Now I'm thinking, if the Storm are going to win, I'm looking at the last 3 games. They're playing at the second slowest pace. Maybe it's just, they're playing that clamping up defense. Maybe they're just going to, have a game plan for Howard, take her out the game, and the game stays under 150. What is it, 2.5? What do you think?
Yeah, that to me, that makes a lot of sense, because that's why I brought up that question, is because now that we talk about it, the way that Seattle plays defense, they do attack people sometimes. They're just smart. You have Sue Bird on that court. You have like another coach on the court, basically, and that's how they play. They attack these teams that have only like a few people that you can really have to focus on. And if they take Ryan Howard out the game, that was kind of what scares me now. And to me, the under is just it looks like the right play here.
It's like 151 too at the book that I'm looking at, man. It's really going down.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take a second look, but it sounds like this is the play for us right here. We all liking it.
Yeah.
Nah, I agree. I agree. 151.5 actually.
That's the best number right now. So it's
I
going
don't
down.
think that's the best number.
It went back. It went back down. It went back down quick. It went back down quick.
I still see a 152 available at Circa, but even since I was just talking on the last show an hour ago, it's dropping. So under 152, I think is the play tonight. I'll be on that. I get the lean, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on that.
Don't gotta worry.
Lean, please. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. All right. So we got Dream and Storm to the under here. Real quick, we don't gotta break it down, but I do have a play on the Lynx first half in that first game. So that's one way that I'm looking on that one. Really appreciate you guys coming on here, Wham and Skee. Hope we do this again. I love this combo here. Just the conversations that we have and all that stuff. Before we cut out though, do you guys have anything to promote or talk about before we go?
Yeah, you could just check out all my work on Twitter at Skee Profit. Appreciate you having me on. Always great rocking with both of you guys. And I'll just be happy when Wham can stop being a Celtics fan.
Gotta take a shot at there. Gotta take a shot there. It's all good. But yeah, man, at Trout Wham on Twitter, Walter Trotter the Sum. I appreciate you, man. Ronald Skee, you already know. That's Uncle Skee to my kids, bro. So it's always right, man. You're gonna have to call Uncle Ronald, bro. It's only love, bro. It's only love over here. So hey, man, I appreciate y'all for real though, man. Always, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Yo, I really appreciate you guys. And another thing to add is to Uncle Russell Westbrook as well.
Here y'all go. Hey, don't be surprised if you play good next year, though. Don't be surprised. Rasheed Wallace out there, y'all. Y'all should have started.
This is the end of the show, guys. Thanks to all who tuned in on YouTube and on Twitter. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button before you bounce. Make sure you check all the links in the description as well. Follow Trot Wham. Follow Skee Profit on Twitter. And as always, I have to end with this. Please remember, whether you fade us or follow us, it's on you to make that call. Good luck on all your action. Until next time, peace.